content is for educational purposes only, drawing from our professional and educational experiences and opinions. Please use this information at your own personal or professional discretion. We are not liable for anything you do with this information.
Good evening. Welcome to Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector podcast. I am your host, Tabatha L. In tonight's episode, we will discuss detached structures, what they are, how the National Electrical Code applies to them, and some of the most common reasons they fail electrical inspections. I will share a few experiences from the field, highlighting issues I have encountered during inspections and offering practical tips to help homeowners and electrical contractors avoid costly mistakes. My goal is to provide valuable safety information that will help you better understand electrical code requirements, save time and money, and reduce the likelihood of failed inspections and unnecessary rework. Whether you're building a detached garage, installing a backyard workshop, adding electricity to a storage shed, or just expanding your knowledge of electrical safety, this episode is for you. If you have ever wondered why detached structures frequently fail electrical inspections and what you can do to pass your electrical inspection the first time, stay tuned. You won't want to miss these practical insights and real-world lessons. Have you ever completed what seemed like a perfectly good electrical installation only to have it fail inspection? If so, you're not alone. Detached structures are common. Detached structures are among the most common projects where homeowners and contractors overlook important electrical code requirements. From missing disconnect means and overlooked expansion fittings to incorrect wiring methods and feeder installations. Even small mistakes can lead to failed inspections, costly corrections, and unnecessary delays. In tonight's episode, we're taking a closer look at detached structures. I will explain what the National Electrical Code considers a detached structure. I will discuss the most common inspection failures I encountered in the field and share practical tips to help you get it right the first time. Whether you are a homeowner, a contractor, electrician, or just interested in electrical safety, you will walk away with valuable knowledge that can save you time, money, and frustration. What is a detached structure? Before examining the most common electrical inspection failures, it's important to understand what the National Electrical Code considers a detached structure. A detached structure is any building that is physically separated from the primary residence or main facility. Once electrical wiring or equipment is installed in that structure, the National Electrical Code requires specific safety provisions to protect occupants, allow for safe maintenance, and provide a means to quickly disconnect power during an emergency. Common examples of detached structures include detached garages, detached workshops, guest houses, pool houses, prefabricated buildings, portable or mobile classrooms, gazebos, and pergolas, security guard booths, car wash booths, horse stables or barns, boat docks, utility and garden sheds, outdoor barbecue structures, grilling stations, and sometimes smokehouses. In short, any structure that is separate from the main building and contains electrical wiring is considered a detached structure under the National Electrical Code. Why the National Electrical Code applies to detached structures. The presence of electrical wiring introduces potential hazards, including electrical shock, fire, and equipment damage. The National Electrical Code establishes minimum safety requirements to reduce these risks while ensuring installation remains safe, reliable, and code compliant. These requirements are enforced by the authority having jurisdiction through local building codes and inspection programs. Fire protection. Detached structures frequently contain equipment such as power tools, compressors, freezers, welders, or space heaters that place significant demands on the electrical systems. Overload circuits or electrical faults can overheat conductors and create a fire hazard. To address this risk, the National Electrical Code requires a properly sized disconnecting means that allows the electrical power supplying the detached structure to be shut off quickly. This disconnect provides homeowners, service technicians, and emergency responders with a safe method of removing power during emergencies or while servicing electrical equipment. Shock protection. Electrical safety also depends on proper grounding and personnel protection. Grounding electrodes, commonly called ground rods, help stabilize the electrical system and provide a path for fault current under appropriate fault conditions. The National Electrical Code also requires ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCI, protection for receptacles installed in locations where moisture or damp conditions increase the risk of electrical shock. GFCIs continuously monitors the current flowing through a circuit and disconnect power within a fraction of a second if a dangerous ground fault is detected. Legal and insurance compliance. In most jurisdictions, the National Electrical Code has been adopted into law through local building codes. As a result, compliance is mandatory for obtaining permits and passing electrical inspections. Electrical installations performed without the required permits or inspections, or that fail to comply with the adopted electrical code, may create significant legal and financial consequences. Depending on the local regulation and insurance policy terms, non-compliant electrical work may require corrections before a property can be sold, and it may affect insurance claims following an electrical fire or other covered losses. Understanding what qualifies as a detached structure and why this safety requirement exists provides the foundation for identifying the most common code violations. Without that foundation established, let's examine the primary reasons detached structures fail electrical inspections. Common reasons detached structures fail electrical inspections. The most common reason a detached structure fails electrical inspection is the absence of the required building permits. A building permit is required for new construction, structural modifications, or a change in the building's occupancy or use. Major projects involving detached structures or electrical installations also require the appropriate trade permits, including an electrical permit when electrical work is performed. Electrical inspectors are required to verify that a valid building permit has been issued before conducting an inspection. Inspections follow a sequence, and in most cases, the building inspector cannot approve the project until the electrical inspection has been completed successfully. When an inspector arrives at a job site and there is no building permit available, it raises concerns that either the permit has not been issued or the municipality is unaware that construction is taking place. General contractors will sometimes state that the permit is not on site. If the permit has already been issued by the municipality, the inspection can usually be rescheduled for the following day. However, if the inspection cannot be rescheduled within one or 2 days, it often indicates that no permit was ever issued, resulting in a stop work order until the proper permits are obtained. Next common failure, disconnecting means. The most common reason a detached structure fails electrical inspection is the lack of a disconnecting means capable of simultaneously disconnecting all power supply to the structure. According to the National Electrical Code, 2026, Article 225.31a, a single disconnecting means is required for all feeders supplying a building or structure. For structures other than 1 and 2 family dwellings, Article 225.41 permits the disconnecting means to be installed inside the building near the point where the feeder conductors enter the structure. If installed outdoor, the disconnect may be located on or within sight of the building. Where the code requires equipment to be within sight, new Article 110.29 defines this as visible and not more than 50 feet from the equipment it serves. Next, reason why detached structures fail electrical inspection: overcurrent devices on the stairway. Another common violation involves installing overcurrent devices on a stairwell. Article 240.24f prohibits overcurrent devices from being located over the steps of a stairway. This issue frequently occurs during a subpanel installation in a detached structure. Making proper panel placements is important, and consideration is important and must be considered during the planning stages. A prefabricated structure. A prefabricated structure that arrives on site fully wired must bear an overall listing as a complete assembly. Examples include portable classrooms, mobile offices, gazebos, pergolas, security guard booths, and car wash equipment. According to the authority having jurisdiction, 1102-80-8, all electrical material and equipment must be listed and approved by a nationally recognized testing laboratory or another approved listing agency. Even if the individual components are listed, the complete assembly must bear an overall listing. Within the authority having jurisdiction, including municipalities utilizing contracted code enforcement, prefab structures must comply with these requirements. The code officials have the authority to approve listed assemblies that meet the applicable standards. Next on the list is grounding requirements. Failure to install a grounding electrode system is another common inspection failure. Per Article 250.32a, a detached building supplied by a feeder must have a grounding electrode system and grounding electrode conductor. If a subpanel is installed in the detached structure, grounding electrode, a grounding electrode are required. Additionally, Article 250.32b1 requires the grounded neutral conductor and equipment grounding conductor to remain isolated from one another in the detached building subpanels. So that means to separate the grounds and neutrals. Next on the list, expansion fittings. An expansion fitting are frequently overlooked when installing underground PVC raceways. Article 352.44 requires expansion fittings where necessary to compensate for thermal expansion and contraction. Proper installation helps prevent conduit damage caused by temperature changes. Next on the list, protection of the Romex, the NM cable. Another common issue involves improperly installed Romex cables in unfinished buildings. NM cable should not be ran horizontally across exposed framing where it is subject to physical damage. Until drywall is installed, exposed cables are vulnerable to damage from tools, stored materials, or other job site activities. Homeowners may also unknowingly hang tools or equipment on energized cables, creating a significant safety hazard. Proper cable routing and protection should always be provided in accordance with applicable NEC requirements. Cable protections behind studded walls. When using shadow studs or creating additional wall cavities, cables must be protected from nails and screws. Where required, listed nail plates should be installed to protect the wiring. The use of fender washers, junction box covers are strictly prohibited. These are not approved for the use for nail plates. Next on the list, exterior lighting. Accessory structures supplied with electricity are required to have at least one lighting outlet at the exterior entrance. According to the National Electrical Code, Article 210.70A21, this lighting outlet is typically controlled by a wall switch. Motion sensors are permitted, provided that they include a manual override so occupants can safely illuminate the area during emergency. Motion sensors are permitted, provided they include a manual override so occupants can safely egress the area during an emergency. Required receptacle outlets. Article 210.52G2 requires at least one receptacle outlet in accessory buildings supplied with electricity. When the receptacle is installed outdoors, Article 406.9B1A requires it to be protected by an approved weather-resistant in-use cover. Next on the list is pool bonding requirements. When a metal pergola or other fixed metal structures is located within 5 feet of the inside wall of a swimming pool, bonding is required for that metal structure. According to Article 680.26b7, all fixed metal parts within this distance must be bonded to the pool's bonding grid to minimize voltage and reduce the risk of electrical shock. Open communication between inspectors and contractors lead to a safer, more code-compliant electrical installation that protects both people and property. Inspections exist to verify safety and compliance, not to assign blame. Successful projects are built on teamwork, professionalism, and a willingness to communicate before problems arise. Staying current with code changes, asking questions, and seeking clarifications before beginning work can prevent costly corrections later. A simple question today can save significant time, money, and frustration tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector. In future episodes, we will continue discussing real-world electrical issues, common inspection challenges, code requirements, and practical solutions from both the contractors and the inspectors' perspectives. Be sure to follow Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your favorite social media platform. If you have a question, topic suggestion, or would like to be considered as a future guest, I would love to hear from you. Your ideas may inspire an upcoming episode. Until next time, stay safe, stay professional, keep learning, and remember, electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. Good night.